Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is the Music Lessons. I'm Peter Daniel, and last time we were talking about overtones and sound production, so I thought I'd do a guided practice session on overtones. This one's for saxophones, pretty specifically, that's why it says sax in the little parentheses. And so if you're a brass player, this is, go do lip slurs. That's what I'm told. You can do them, we just do them a different way. This is the equivalent of that, though. So this one's going to be, if you're a saxophone player looking for improve your sound production, we're going to talk about overtones and their use and application. I'm going to say a couple things that I'm going to say a lot. One is we want to make sure that we're not using our jaw or our embouchure to squeeze and tighten to get those upper harmonics. It's going to be easy to do, but that's not why we're here. We're using overtones to think about everything that's involved in sound production that's behind the face, right? We talked about diaphragm all the way forward, how the fundamental kind of lives in the sternum, and the first harmonic is more in the soft palate, second harmonic is even forward, whatever the focus, that's where the focus is. The only way to make sense of that is really just by doing them. So, let's jump in here. We're going to start with a my low C. I'm on tenor today, so we're going to go low C, just whatever horn you're on. Low C is a great place to start. It's going to be a fourth or fifth apart, depending on the octave, but that's okay. Let's just play our fundamental mezzo piano. We're trying to really listen and be relaxed. Breathe in, think about our diaphragm. Breathe out, think about the same thing. Here we go. Low C. So I just go from 100% full to 0% for my lungs, however long that is, just stop. If that's less for you, you can wait for me. If you want to go again, that's fine. If that's longer for you, then I'll wait for you. I'll take a sip of tea after each one. Let's do that same one again, really thinking about the sound, thinking about the focus, making sure it's relaxed, trying to go for even, steady, pitch, dynamic tone, all those things. Here we go. Cool, so now we're going to do first harmonic, which is trying to get the octave up without using the octave key. So we don't want to be pushing, we don't want to be forcing it our way with our embouchure or our jaw. We want to be thinking about that focus being behind, being part of the human part of the equation. So let's see if we can keep that mezzo piano and get that first harmonic out. So we know we're doing it right if we can grab our tuner. We got a tuner here. If we can, on just a normal C, right? I'm gonna bend the pitch down with my embouchure and jaw and get this little dip in the pitch. If we can reproduce that same effect while doing the first harmonic, then we know we're not relying on our embouchure or jaw pressure to produce that tone. We're just relying on something behind, which is what we're trying to do, figure out where the control comes from behind our face. So let's do the first harmonic. Let's see if we can do that sort of tuner dip. But I'll go about a quarter step. If you've got a tuner in front of you, a quarter step is plenty. I'm able to maintain the first harmonic while being in any lip or embouchure position. Cool, so now we're going to do a couple of slurs from the fundamental to the first harmonic and back. You can follow along. I'll try and cue each time I'm transitioning now. I might not go at the same pace as you though, so feel free to go at your own pace, however much lung capacity you have. Once again, on the transition back down, we want to make sure we're not using our embouchure to roll off the pitch there. We want to make sure the pitch is staying as steady as possible. Let's do the same thing again. Sometimes that transition down can be tricky. Good. Let's do the other way. Start on the first harmonic, go down to the fundamental, and come back up. Couple common mistakes I see. We want to make sure that each pitch we're getting, whether it's the fundamental, the first harmonic, or where we're heading next, the second harmonic, that is clean, that there's not a lot of bleed in between the harmonics. Sometimes you can get both at once. Kind of go in between. So we want to make sure it's a clear pitch of the fundamental or a clear pitch of the first harmonic. And when we transition down, that fundamental can get fuzzy sometimes. It's a full tone versus subtone thing, which we'll probably get into on a future video. But for now, just try to make sure that we're relaxed, that the embouchure is engaged, but it's not moving a whole lot, and that we're relaxed in the shoulders, collarbone, diaphragm's got room to expand, all that good stuff I talked about last time. Okay, let's do first fundamental first again. Right, this is all about sound production. So the ideal is not moving the embouchure. We're trying to have the same embouchure position for first harmonic, fundamental, second harmonic. It's sort of like absolute zero. You can get close. You can't never quite actually get there though. There's always subtle changes or differences, right? Embouchure position is important, but it's not where the control for the change in harmonics is coming from. All right, let's play second harmonic. So it's a fifth above that. And again, no octave key. We're not trying to press or get that out. And some people have trouble getting the second harmonic out at first. But keep hearing it, keep trying it, and you'll eventually figure it out. For those of you who are taking longer, I said I'd wait for you after each one, sorry. I get nervous and excited. Talking about overtones. Okay, so, again, on this one, we can make sure we're doing it the right way if we can relax our embouchure, relax our face and jaw, and still get that tuner dip, that pitch shift, while maintaining the integrity of the sound of the second harmonic. That sounded good. Doesn't really matter where you start on these. I noticed I was starting like 30 cents sharp of actual concert F. That's okay, as long as you can get the movement of about a quarter step, right, 50 cents down, back up, then you've got the flexibility. So now that we've done that, we're gonna go second, first, fundamental. Again, I'll try to cue each one. Making sure that last fundamental is good, isn't too breathy, we're not working too hard to get it, that we're relaxed, it's got a good full tone. Okay, let's do that same one again. Cool. Now we're gonna go second, second, first, second. First back up to second can be pretty tricky. So again, if you're having trouble, keep trying, stick with it. We can talk about some tricks and stuff later. We'll do that same thing again. Same thing again. Make sure we're paying attention to how that second harmonic is coming out when we're first playing it, so we can recreate those conditions to transition back into it. It's going to be really tempting to squeeze the embouchure here to get us up to that second harmonic. And while embouchure position is important for these overtones, again, that's not where the control is coming from for the transitions, for the movement. That's coming from further back. It's coming from more of the human side. So if we're having a lot of trouble, if you're having trouble getting from that first harmonic to the second harmonic, try putting a break in there at first. Not a breath, but put a pause in there, reset, hit it, make that pause shorter and shorter. Until you can eventually from one to the next without stopping. The tendency also is going to be to overblow here, to use air to make up for any difficulty we're having in that transition. And again, that'll work, right? That'll replicate the result, but we're trying, the process is what's important here. We're trying to not use air. We're trying to make this as difficult as possible so that we can work on those things, right? Work on all the other things that aren't a lot of air and embouchure control to get a good sound out of the saxophone. Trying to get everything else dialed in, right? Making this difficult for ourselves. Okay, now we're going to go up. We're going to go fundamental first, second. Alright, now we're going to try to go all the way up and all the way down. Fundamental, first, second, first, fundamental. Again, making sure that first fundamental sound, the last fundamental sounds like the first fundamental, that we're nice and controlled, that we're not using the embouchure, we're not rolling the pitches off. We can be using a tuner to check and make sure we're being honest with ourselves. Okay, now, same variant, same idea, just kind of different variant. That can be a whole exercise, right? That can be 10 minutes in itself. Go to B, do the same thing. Go to B flat, do the same thing. Go to C sharp, do the same thing. That can be half an hour. I do 10 minutes of this every time I warm up and with all my students. Now we're going to do just a different variant. Same thing, we're going to go fundamental to first, as many times cleanly and clearly as we can in one breath. So you can either try with me or you can listen first and then kind of join in or whatever. But here's the idea. That really forces us to be efficient, right? Efficient with our sound production, efficient with our transitions, efficient with starting the note. You might notice that your sound is a lot breathier, right? And you might attribute that to air leaking out the sides of your mouth or from the mouthpiece. I don't think that's actually it, though. I think it's air that's moving through the horn that's just not being converted into sound, right? We know that we can blow through the horn and get no saxophone sound. And we can blow through the horn and get saxophone sound. So there can be everything in between, right? If you're familiar with the pinching theorem in math, I'm a bit of a math nerd. It's sort of the real life example. We can get every sort of mixture. So what we're trying to do is convert all of the sound we blow through into reed vibration sound production. So if you notice a lot of breathiness while you're playing, I think it's about embouchure engagement. That's one answer. I don't think it's about sound air coming out, though. But it might be about how your embouchure is set up. When you're doing these overtones, really, I want you to challenge everything. I want you to challenge the assumptions you've had about how your embouchure is set up, how your mouth is set up, how your jaw is, how much mouthpiece you've got in the mouth, you know. Think about how you're sitting, your posture. It sounds like a dumb thing, I know, and your music teacher harps on you, whatever, but diaphragm, having room for that diaphragm to operate is sort of the whole point of this. And we'll do another super nerdy deep dive later on about breathing, just philosophy and exercises that I've been digging into, and talk with professional saxophone players and musicians and some breathing experts and yoga experts and all that. So let's do that same exercise. First, fundamental to first. All right, here we go. Now let's do the same thing between first and second harmonic. Thought I had one more in me. We gotta do a little self-policing on that one. Make sure that you're getting a clean sound, right? That we're not getting a lot of buzz, we're not getting a lot of fundamental in there, or first harmonic one, which should be on the second harmonic. That each note is isolated and clean. But that's really, if we can do that, if we can do those exercises, really understand where that control is coming from, we're really on our way to understanding fundamentals or overtones and fundamentals, harmonics. There are other things, plenty of other things you can do. Maybe we'll get into some exercises later on. But yeah, just overtone slurs. And then, I mean, if you're already there, if what I've been doing is already old news to you, can you go up to the third harmonic? Can you make that part of your regular practice routine? And if you can do that, you can probably hit a lot of the other harmonics, and you're probably doing pretty well. In which case, you should go find another more advanced video. I might make one later. All right. Thank you very much. Well, I'm going to get the first 3 or 4 out here, and then after that I'll probably go weekly-ish, most Mondays. Just talking about concepts. I think the next one we're going to do is more applicable to other instruments. It's going to be about improv language and what to do over some 2-5-1s. It's some stuff that my instructor, former teacher from North Texas, he went to North Texas, I did not, but he graduated, became my teacher. Yeah, some stuff that he was talking about. Really cool way to think about language that a lot of the greats, a lot of the masters used back in the day. So, I'll probably do that later this week, don't know exactly when, and then we'll do another guided practice session on that. It's called 3 Ways In, 2 Ways Out. Alright, thanks a lot. See you in the future.